Oh, hey, I was wondering, this morning I was watching your video about the footwork on the hachi, and on the advanced or the technical application on Shodan, you don't do the foot sweep, but do you do that in the other two kata or?
In technical application of Nahanchi, yeah, you
Yes.
remember there's the foot sweep.
Okay.
And we do the two kicks. So you only do that foot sweep there when we do that motion.
Right. When you do the where you cross over,
drop, single, close, double.
Okay, because I'm thinking the wrong part of the kata. Okay, so it's two. Okay.
So at the beginning,
2 foot swing when you do that.
when you do this motion, you still do the leg capture.
Okay.
But then all the other crosses, yeah, I mean you only cross 2 more times, right? In the Nahanchi Shodan.
Right, and those are the okay.
You're gonna need on, but you don't have that yet. You're gonna come here, and then you're gonna sweep, 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 sweep.
Okay.
Sweep like I already lost track 5 times during the Nahanchi Nidan.
Okay.
And then
okay.
Nahanchi Sandan, when you get to it, you'll sweep, 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 and in. So there's like 4 or 5 in Nidan and Sandan. There's only 2 in Nahanchi Shodan. Oh, somebody else is joining.
Okay, it's at 1. Okay.
It's Brad the dad.
Ohio goes
Brad the dad.
Ukari-san. In this newly floored dojo, and they're safe. Wow. I'm gonna step out of view. I'm gonna get a pad and paper.
Right, let's see. That work? Yep.
So it doesn't look like there's anybody left that's a Facebook user. So I may not need to live stream because I was kind of worried that might dual stream and might take the bandwidth down because Dan doesn't get on Facebook. I don't think Miracle usually does. Becky's supposed to log in, but she was going to log in on Zoom.
Eric's out of town.
Dan can't make it, I know that.
Gotcha. So then I guess there's no need to live stream it with Facebook because there would be nobody. Is that a natural position for you, Brad? What's our morning run today?
Yeah, bent over, butt up in the air.
Yep.
Assume the position.
Exactly.
All righty. Just waiting on Becky, I think. Yes. Yeah, I've got to figure out how to get you guys projected onto the screen before we do this again, because it's very hard to see your little heads from 12 to
Yes.
20 feet away.
Yeah, and I probably need to find a different camera than the inbuilt one on my computer because I really would like, full body shot as opposed to like my torso.
So you can really screw up your footwork today, Scott, and nobody will notice.
Yeah, but that kind of defeats the purpose.
Well, until this is kind of a trial run until I get that to where I can project it on the screen. It's going to be too hard for me to really see too many details. I'll have to, walk up to the camera if you want me to specifically look at something.
Mm.
All right. Well, it's 10 o'clock. That was nice set of molars. Whoever.
Yeah, I wanted to see if you can tell if I have a cavity there or not.
Yeah, apparently. At any rate, can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
I keep coming in to look and then it's cropping my head out, but you don't get a lot out of my head anyway as I'm doing things. This is really kind of a test run just to see how this works. I just want you guys to know I'm available with Zoom, Skype, chat, Facebook, streaming. It's been 2.5 weeks since we've all seen each other and trained, and who knows if this is going to last just another 2 weeks, another 4 weeks, another 2 months, who knows. So I just thought I would offer, I'm sitting around at home most of the time, I'm not doing any university stuff right now. I'm obviously not traveling for seminars, so if you need help on something, you want me to look at your footwork, we can do it live, one-on-one. We can also, you can record a video of yourself and send it to me. I have Dropbox. I have Google, whatever the heck, Google Drive. So there's numerous ways we can get files to each other if you want me to look at something live or file swapping. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So what I thought we'd just do today is kind of go through just to see how this kind of works while Brad gets all stretched out there. Maybe we go through just kind of like we do that beginning warm up with everybody. The hard part of doing a big group is every single one of you is working on something different, typically. But I thought we could kind of go through like that beginning warm up that I do, once a month, once every other month, something like that. Maybe throw some variances on it. And then if people have specific things after we kind of warm up that they need help on, we can discuss it. Maybe you work by yourself, kind of like you do in the dojo. And then I, one by one, talk to each of you, say, hey, what do you need help on, Bob? And then Bob says this part of Nahanchi technical application, and I look at what he's doing and I fix it, and everybody else ignores me. Does that sound like something that might work?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right. All right. All right. So, oh, I'm gonna guess that's always waiting on a woman.
Hello. Yeah.
I
had to find a
the
bra.
Brady Bunch. Here's a story.
Oh, no.
A lovely lady. Singing the
Got a vacuum going. Hold on.
All right. Hey, so what I was just telling everybody, Becky, is, you know, I'm available via Zoom, obviously, Skype, Facebook Messenger, Facebook video chat. I'm available any of those different ways for one-on-one sessions. Becky has taken me up on that. Other things we can do is if you need help on something specifically, you can record. If our schedules can't line up, you can record something, send it to me, Dropbox, Google Drive, or some other method, and I can
Can you tell him he needs to be quiet?
tell you how to improve things, et cetera, that kind of stuff. So what I'm kind of planning on doing at this point, this morning, kind of just to test this and see how it goes, is I'm going to kind of do the opening warm-up, like we do, you know, once a month, once every other month, when the corner drill with techniques, and see how that goes, and then maybe just start going down the line and pick one person. Everybody else works on something on their own. I pick Scott and say, what do you need help on? And then I work with him for a couple of minutes, and then I go to the next window. So
Okay.
kind of our morning plan right now. And we'll see. Somebody else just jumped in. Can't see who that is. Hello.
Dan McPhee. Hello.
It's who?
You sent me a meeting invite. I
Hey.
don't know if it's by accident or not, but
Nope. You're more than welcome to join us, Dan.
what are we talking about today? I'm going to be leaving in about 10 minutes here, but I was just wondering what you was working on.
Hey, well, yeah, I guess you can see probably the same thing I'm seeing. Just got a bunch of students from around, and we're going to work on just some basic, what we call a corner drill. And then I'm going to go down the line, kind of like we do in the dojo, and pick a person and work on them on something for a few minutes, and then go to the next person, work with them for a few minutes, that kind of deal. So we're just having fun in the dojo.
Sounds like a hell of a deal.
COVID-19 has jacked us all up, and we're not able to physically see each other.
I get that. It sounds like a fun time.
All right.
I'm sorry that I got a notification that I was invited to a meeting, and I thought, well, what the hell? I might as well just drop in and say hi anyway.
Well, hello. Long time no see. Anybody's welcome.
Everybody, is this a regular thing? You do this regularly?
Well, that's the plan now, is that we're going to start doing this until this quarantine period is over. We're going to start just having regular class meetings via Zoom. All right.
Same day, same time always, or different?
Well, our typical class days are Saturday mornings and Wednesday nights. So that's kind of the plan. Yeah. And this is a
Cool.
trial
You mind if I
run
join you
of
next
doing a
week?
group. I've been doing kind of one-on-one things.
Yeah, I've seen you talking with people and stuff once in a while.
Yeah. At any rate, I'm going to get started,
Yeah,
guys.
you mind if I join you next week?
Becky, you're actually sideways, but it's okay.
Yeah, I was trying to turn you sideways so you're bigger on my phone, and it's not working.
Oh, okay. Oh, Dan left. All right. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to do the corner drill kind of in the exercise 1 mentality, kind of in that order. So we're kind of going to do exercise 1 to the left corner and the right corner. Make sense? Just to get warmed up. And then I'm going to make a little change to it that I want everybody to think about. All right? So we're going to do it from hands down each time. Hands down to each side. All right? So first is single at a 45. All right, here we go. Each. Knee. Song. She. Go. Raku. Seach. Hotch. Coo. Jew. Okay, same thing. Vertical fist. Each.
Actually, I have a question real quick.
Yes. Who's questioning?
That is me, Scott. So for the sake of keeping our cameras on you, can we go ahead and mute ourselves when we don't have a question? Because you keep flipping back and forth between other people.
Ah, so you've got that's a good point. See, we're ironing out the kinks.
Yeah.
So you're using the big screen of whoever's talking? Gotcha.
Yes.
So if everybody
It was showing you and then it was showing me.
Yeah,
'cause it
so
goes
if
to
everybody
whoever's
mute
talking.
your deal, unless you have a question, then that'll work. And then you'll physically have to come up, definitely mute Brad, because we don't want any puns in the middle of our training. All right, so here we go. All right, kink 1 figured out. Actually, hold on. All right, just had to write that down so that I remember that for next time. All right, so I'm going to come back a little bit. We're going to do knee, song, sheep, go, raku, seach, hotch, cue, Jew. I'd ask what's next, but everybody's muted, so double forearm strike. Ready, each, knee, song, she, go, raku, seach, hotch, cue, Jew. Doubles with vertical fist. Ready, each, knee, song, she, go, raku, seach, hachi, cue, Jew. Next is head. Ready, each, knee, song, she, go, raku, sechi, hachi, cue, Jew. All right, next is the high outside knuckle rake or back fist motion. So zygomatic high. Ready, each, knee, song, she, go, raku, sechi, hachi, cue, Jew. All right. See some hands adjusting things. Just giving a slight pause there. Okay, let's do cross punch combination. Ready, each. Remember not to go past your femur. Not to go past your femur on that single and the low. Knee. Song. She. Go.
Raku. Sichi. Hachi. Kyu. Ju. Okay, same thing, vertical fist. Ready, each. Knee. Song. She. Go. Raku. Sichi. Hachi. Kyu. Ju. All right. Next is single oyata punch. Single oyata punch. Ready, and it's all left singles, all right singles, no matter which way you go. So left, right, left, right. Ready, each. Knee. Song. She. Go. Raku. Sichi. Hachi. Kyu. Ju. All right, I'm going to take a little teachable moment on that. So our single should be perpendicular to the body. Does that make sense? Should be single is perpendicular as everybody comes in to try to see what I'm talking about. And then the punch is perpendicular to the body. Single's perpendicular, and so it looks like I have a giant gaping hole here. When I go to my left, my front foot should be straight pointing to the direction I'm going as I do that single. As I punch, I don't want to punch with this open. I want to turn that heel in. So my heel is straight in line. I'm in a back stance when I do my single on this side. When I punch, see how I brought my shoulder forward by turning my heel in? Turn that heel in on the punch. So it's single, back stance, right back stance, and then as I punch, I do an hourglass. Back stance, hourglass. Okay, now I'm doing this same motion when I go to my right. I go hourglass and I punch back stance. Okay, they're opposites, the footwork, because my arms are opposite in the direction I'm going. Hopefully this is making sense to you. So I do back stance with a lead arm single. I need to get my back arm, my back shoulder closer, or my punch is short. See how that punch is short? So back stance.
Hey, Lee.
Yeah.
I was going to say, why don't you start at a 45-degree angle? That way, when you're making the transition, and see you straight on.
Are you saying for just for visual for you?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So if you started, if you started your natural stance at a 45, when you turn to your, yeah.
Gotcha. So if I'm here in this I'm in my natural stance, and I'm going to turn this way with a lead hand single, right? That arm is long, and my back hand, my shoulder's back. So if I'm doing single and punch, that backhand is far away. So from here, if I turn to 45, single comes up, I'm in a back stance. So my feet are like this. To get the range, I need to bring this shoulder forward. To bring that shoulder forward, I take my front heel, my left heel, and turn it and see what that does to my body. It brings my shoulder forward to where I'm parallel. All right? So when we're doing the two-corner drill and I go to my left, my single comes up and I'm in a back stance. Second deal is a punch. To get that shoulder forward, all I do is I take my front heel and point it towards my back toes. And that pushes the shoulder forward. Now I'm parallel to the direction I'm going. Is that good? 1, 2. 1, 2. That's going to that corner. So back to facing the original way we were facing for the two-corner drill. I go single, I'm in a back stance. I now need to punch with my back arm. I'm pointing that heel, I'm pivoting on the ball of the foot, and now my arm is long enough, okay? So it's back stance, hourglass. In this direction, left is forward, right, left is forward. Everybody doing good on that? So what happens is we're doing exercise 1. When you're in a horse stance or natural stance, your shoulders are aligned, and so you don't need to do all that stuff with your feet. But when I'm doing exercise 1 to these corners, my shoulders come into play. So you're having to learn to move those shoulders. So again, when I go left-handed. When I go to my right, now which hand is short? My left is short. So my single and my punch would be long. So to compensate, I do the opposite footwork. And I'll change it for you in a minute, Brad, to where I'm facing forward. So when I went to this side, it was back stance, hourglass. When I go to this side, it is hourglass to get my body aligned. So that made my cover long. And now as I punch, I can go right back to the back stance. So hourglass, back stance, hourglass. Okay, I'll turn it to the side like you requested, Brad. So when I'm turning to my 45, I want to elongate that cover. So I'm going hourglass, coming up, and then I change back to a back stance. Anybody not tracking?
Makes sense.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Like we had another kid join in.
Yes.
Brad, is that Brad's kid jumping around in there, participating? All right, so we're going to go back to left inside, right punch, but I want you to think about that, and so I'll go a little bit slower this time. It's going to be lead hand, I'm in a back stance, now I'm punching with the back, I'm in an hourglass, and then we come hourglass, back stance. All right, so here we go. 10 reps of left rights. Ready. Back stance, hourglass. Hourglass, back stance. Back stance, hourglass. Hourglass, back stance. Back stance, hourglass, 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 hourglass, back stance. All right. So then in exercise 1, after you do 10 of those, you do 10 rights with a left punch. Right single, left punch. But we're going to our left first. So my right hand's going to be short if I just turn into a back stance. So now I've got to turn hourglass, back stance. And what do you think's next over here? Back stance, hourglass. Everybody okay on that? Does that all make kind of sense to you guys? I'm compensating for the hand being farther away from the target. And I'm doing that with back stance or hourglass. All right? Nobody's chiming in, so I'm going to continue on. So we're going to do that. We're going to throw our single. And so if you watch this, it looks like I'm not covering my body when I do a single and punch. A single doesn't look like it's covering the body, but of course our oyata punch does look like it's covering the body. When I do this from going into an hourglass, see what that does? I cover my body and I cover my body, so I cover my body twice. But if I just stand like we used to do it in a horse stance and come here, I'm not covering my body without the turn, which is why we way overcompensated years and years ago when Marvin and I first learned this stuff. And we came all the way up here and did that kind of motion. All right? So we're going to go left and right. We're going to start with a reft, R-E-F-T. Sorry to the two young preteens on the screen that learned a new word called reft today. All right, I'm going to do right, and then I'm going to do a left punch. Go in this direction. Back arm is short, so the first move is hourglass. Ready? Hourglass, back. Back, because this arm is long, hourglass. Hourglass, back. Back, 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 hourglass, and one more because I can't count. Hourglass, back. Back, hourglass. All right. I think everybody's kind of getting the hang of that. The next thing from our old horse stance version is inside back fist punch. All right. So we, of course, go inside back fist, cover punch. So if you look at that, if I'm going, I just turned off so that I'm going left first. Left hand, when I turn, Left shoulder's close to you, so left is long. Right is short. Long and short. Kind of like seesaw, right? I turn, it's back shoulder is short. So I'm gonna go back fist, or back stance with my single, back fist, and this arm is short, so I've gotta do hourglass to make that punch the same length. All right, so that means it'll be back stance, back fist, hourglass, hourglass, back stance, because this arm is long. So again, it's going to be the same thing. It'll be back stance, hourglass, hourglass, back stance, because I've got to make my single, I've got to make it long with a back stance, and then I can shorten it back up. Hourglass, back stance, hourglass. All right. Hopefully we're all on the same page. Lovely, thrilling oyatate concepts. So here we go. All right. So single, back stance, back fist, punch with an hourglass. Okay. So I just did hourglass, so that's going to be my next one over here. So I go hourglass with a single, back fist, straighten to a back stance with a punch. So I'm in a back stance. That's my next stance to the left. Ready. Knee. Hourglass. Song. Hourglass. Back stance. Chi. Back stance. Hourglass. Go. Hourglass. Back stance. Roku. Back stance. Hourglass. Sichi. Hourglass. Back stance. Hachi. Back stance. Hourglass. Q. Hourglass. Back stance. Ju. Back stance. Hourglass. And Ju each. Hourglass. Back stance. All right. So now it's right, single, back fist, left punch. So again, it's just the opposite like we did earlier. If I'm going this way and my first move is a right, it's short. If I'm in a back stance, I need to bring that shoulder closer with an hourglass. So we're going to go hourglass first when we go left with our right hand. And then we're going to go back stance when we go, because it's long, I'm going to go back stance to the right side. Hourglass to this side, back stance to this side. Ready. Right hand, single strike. Ready. Each. Back stance, make it long. Back hand. I said that wrong. Hourglass to make it long. Back to back stance with the punch. Okay. Now we're going to our right side. Right arm will be long, so it's back stance. Back stance. Make our left arm long with an hourglass. We just finished hourglass, so hourglass is next on here. Song. Hourglass. Back stance. Back stance was just done, so we're going to repeat. Back stance will be first on this side. Yawn. Back stance. hourglass. Go, back stance, or hourglass, back stance. Ended with back stance, so we're going back stance over here. Back stance, hourglass. Ichi, hourglass, back stance. Hachi, back stance, hourglass. Q, hourglass, back stance. Ju, back stance, hourglass. All right. Everybody doing good? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Since most everybody's got their mics off.
So I do have one small comment.
Yes.
Definitely be more explicit about left and right, just because it is a lot easier to lose track on camera.
Gotcha. So are you talking about hands or direction I'm going, or both?
Direction you're going.
The
'Cause
direction I'm
oftentimes
going.
you'll say this side, and it's like, okay, yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So you'll say, all right, now we're doing this side. It's like, okay.
I don't hear Lee.
That is Marvin, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay.
I thought it looked like Marvin, but you know.
So I was just mirroring you and ignoring left and right. And that worked for me.
All right. If that worked for you, you know. Woohoo. All right. So that kind of thinking of going to your angles is a video that I recorded yesterday. Of course, if you watch this morning's Nahanchi video that I did, that was about 22 hours of work from, I recorded lots of stuff yesterday, and then it took my computer a little over 14 hours to compile the video after I edited it. So a little over 20 hours. I've got a video where I talk about this kind of stuff that'll be coming up probably in the next couple of days to kind of help you guys think of this concept. All right. But that is very much, you know, we've been talking about these corner drills for a while and haven't gone into too much detail, but you should naturally, all of you, Safe is the youngest member online in the dojo at the moment as far as time in, but even Safe has been here long enough that you should start, it feels funny if, and doesn't make sense visualization wise, if there weren't wires surrounding my body opponent bag, I'd drag him out here right now, but I've got lighting wires wrapped around them. It should feel funny physically, and visually it shouldn't make sense if I'm in a back stance and I'm doing strikes out here, and then I've got, you know, I'm doing a cover and hitting the face, and this is as far as my hand can go for a punch. It should feel funny. I should feel bound up. And by going from a back stance to an hourglass, I get a lot of range. See how far that shoulder is? I get all that extra range. So exercise one, when you start doing it 2 corners and maybe even 4 corners or 6 or 8 or whatever later on, as you start doing these different angles, you should start thinking about your body alignment. And you should naturally feel when you punch, if you're punching this way, it's really the angle of it is cross body, and it should be here. The only way to get it there and punch at a 45 is well, I guess I can't say the only way. The easiest way is just to move that heel in. I mean, I could obviously, I could take a big step. I could pirouette to move my arm around. But the simplest, most direct and efficient deal is as that punch is coming, my heel flings my shoulder forward, which rotates the body, and then I end up with a force-efficient punch. I want force-efficient single, force-efficient back fist, and punch is coming out diagonal, right? But it ends this way. So if I'm in a back stance, it's coming out diagonal, it's coming towards my opponent, and then it's force-efficient when my body rotates. If Tony was here, I'd say twist, but you know, just to aggravate him. All right, so where are we at now? Oh, high, low, lows, highs. All right, so high, low, low, high, high, low, low, high. Welcome to the party. We're just kind of working on exercise 1, which I don't know if you got from Josh. I'm assuming that's Trinidad. Hey, yep. I don't know if you got exercise 1 from Josh, but we actually do it at corners. So we're at a point where we're going to go high, low, low, high to 2 separate corners. So again, when we do this, we don't, if we just go high, low, low, high straight ahead, we're not using our body at all. So we're going to turn to a corner. I'm turning to my left side and punching high with my right hand. That puts me at an angle, right? Because I'm punching with my right, but I'm going left. So the correction so this doesn't feel weak is to have that punch at a right angle. So as I punch and go to my left, the left side of the classroom, in order to keep that from being at an angle, I move from a back, instead of doing a back stance, my first stance is an hourglass because I'm punching with the back hand. If I stay in a back stance, I'm at an angle. If I punch with my back arm and do an hourglass, then I'm at a 90-degree angle. All right? So we're going to go high-low to our left. And so it's hourglass, right hand, and then I go to a back stance for the left hand because it's a lead hand. So high was hourglass, low is a back stance. Now I'm going to go to my right angle and I'm going to punch low high. So when I go here to my right side with my right arm is front. If I'm attacking with my front arm, I'm in a back stance. If the next one is, see how that's short? So I don't want it to be short when my hand goes up long or my hand goes up high. So I turn into an hourglass. So that's high. So the high-low drill, you go, whichever hand struck last is where you go next. So I'm going to go high-low on my left. I'm striking backhand. It's short, so I make it long with a hourglass. And then I come back to a back stance for the low. Okay, now we're going to go to the right. I'm going to go low, back stance. Got to make it long. So my high punch with my left is in an hourglass. Fifth move, I'm going high with the back arm So I'm hourglass. I'm back stance. 6th move. I'm coming around, hovering, punching low. It's the front arm, so I don't have to make it long. It's in a back stance. The high punch is short, so I got to make it long with an hourglass. Now I'm going to go to the left. Short arm is right, so I make an hourglass high, back stance low. Okay? I'm going to go to the right side. I'm going to punch low. Low with the right hand. Back stance. Back arm's going to punch high, and it's short, so I make an hourglass. And I think 9th move. So I'm going high with the back hand. I got to make it long. Hourglass. Low is short. And our 10th move, low is long, high is going to be short, so I make it an hourglass. Okay. All right. Is that making sense to everybody?
Yes.
Chigao is Japanese. Chigao means no, so I'm looking at everybody from a laptop. So if it's not making sense, do a big X. If you're fine, this works. Woo! I see no X's on the screen. I don't know what Marvin's doing. And I think Brad is doing some disco dancing. Yeah. Marvin's shaking up his cocktail for later. All right. So that's high, low, low, high. The next one's middle, low, high, high, middle, low. So this one's going to get even freakier. All right. So middle, low, high, high, middle, low, low, middle, high, middle, low, right? But it follows the same rules. So the first one will be, I'm turning to my left, and I'm offsetting just for the demo here. So my right punch will be the first, and it's middle, but it's the back arm. So I got to make the back arm long. So it's hourglass, back stance, hourglass. And then if I was facing, if this was the center of the room and I'm going to the right on the next one, so it was right, left, right. Left is my next move, but I'm going to my right. So high, my arm is short because it's the back arm. So it's hourglass. Middle is the long arm, so it's back stance. And then hourglass is the low. I need to lengthen it. Make sense? Good to go? All right. So here we go. We're going to the left corner, and it's going to be middle, low, high. I don't know why Taika had us do that transition, and then the rest of them high, middle, low, low, middle, high. But that first one is middle, low, high, and never got an explanation for it. But it's going to punch with the right hand, the back hand. So it's going to be, here we go. Ready? Each is middle, hourglass, low, back stance, high, hourglass. Now I'm going to go to this direction. So it's going to be high as the first punch. So I come up, it's short, so I'm in an hourglass. Middle is long, so I'm in a back stance. Low is short, so I'm going to fix that with an hourglass. Right? So now I'm going to go to the left with the right punch, low. Count 3 is hourglass, back stance, hourglass. Now I'm going to go to my right side with a left punch, which is short, so I make it hourglass, middle, back, low, hourglass. And now I'm going to go to my left with starting with a low. And so it's short, so it's low with an hourglass, middle back stance, high hourglass. Now I'm going to my right with a left punch. It's short, so it's hourglass. Middle is back stance. Low is hourglass. 7 is low, it's short, so it's hourglass. Back stance, hourglass. Hachi, short, it's hourglass. Back stance, hourglass. Ju, oh, no, Q, I can't count today. It's short, so I go hourglass. I go back stance. I go hourglass. Now it's Ju, or toe. It's short, so I go hourglass. Back stance, hourglass. Okay, so that's 10 of those. All right, so we did duples, we did triples. Next is the four punches cross, and it's too low, too high. And this one never made sense to me or most anybody else that thought about it back in the day. When we did this in four stance, it always felt like it was binding. It didn't make any sense. When we go to the corners, you follow the same rules, and it now makes sense because you don't bind. It looks like low, low, high, high. You get your center covers by turning your body. All right. So as an example, I'm just offsetting for demonstration. If I was going to my left, backhand is punching, I'm hourglass, but this is perpendicular. Now I'm back stance. This looks like it's diagonal across, it's covering, but it's perpendicular. Now, perpendicular to my body with an hourglass, back stance, perpendicular to my body. So this is what's going on. Hand cross, when my chest is at this angle, that's perpendicular. That's a back stance. This is perpendicular. When it's the backhand, I do the hourglass. Okay? So, too low, too high. We're going to go to the corners. So I'm going to go to my left corner first, and these punches will be perpendicular to my body. So here we go. Each hourglass with a right punch low, back stance, so that these knuckles should not be over my toes. It should be angled because my chest is angled. Somebody's adjusting their camera there. So then high is the back arm. I'm perpendicular. I'm in an hourglass. And then high, I'm perpendicular in a back stance. Okay? So that's the first count. Second count, we're going off to our right. It's still right, left, right, left. So my first, as I go into to throw my right low, my chest is at an angle. It's a front arm, which puts the knuckles inside my knee. I'm not here. It looks like an angle, but it really isn't when you look at the chest. So my low, I'm in a back stance with the right. Hourglass, this is perpendicular. Now, I'm going to throw my right, and I'm going to go back. This knuckle should be inside my knee. Should not be out here. It's at that angle. But that angle is perpendicular. It's force efficient. And the next high, this arm's short. So I go to hourglass. This is now perpendicular. That's our second count. Third count, back to the left. Short arm, hourglass, back, hourglass, back. Really try to get those perpendicular. Fourth count, to the right, right hand first. Back stance. Knuckle is inside the knee. Hourglass. Back stance. Hourglass. Fifth count. Hourglass. Back stance. Hourglass. Back stance. Sixth count. I can't count today. Back stance, hourglass, back stance, hourglass. Seventh stance, or seventh to the left. Hourglass, back, hourglass, back. Eighth to the right. Back stance, hourglass, back stance, hourglass. Ninth to the left. Hourglass, back stance, hourglass, back stance. 10th to the right. Back stance, knuckle inside the knee. Hourglass, back stance, hourglass.
Sound
All
like
right.
a sideline.
Pardon? What'd you say, Bob? I heard something. It sounded like Bob said something, but
Yeah, it sounded like Bob said something. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you, Braid.
Yeah, Bob said something, but he's muted now.
Do you have a question, Bob? Bob seems locked.
Oh, there he is. Oh, there's Brad.
So I have a question while we wait for Bob.
Okay.
I know we're going through this, step by step, but if we were going, punch, punch, punch quickly, do you have your heel floating as you're transitioning from back stance to hourglass?
Yes, yes. The back stance on impact, it just bounces off the floor and then immediately goes to the next stance. So you could really say you're going back stance, cat stance, hourglass, cat stance, back stance, cat stance, hourglass, cat stance. That kind of complicates it a little bit more, but that is in reality what you're doing. Taika at one point said back stances. He said something to the effect of back stances, or I mean, can you reach through and slap me, Marvin? Yeah. Cat stances don't exist, but what he really meant was you're never in a cat stance for more than a moment. They don't really exist in time. They're these motions that happen in between.
Transitional.
Yes, very much transitional. Thank you.
Lee, I'm not really sure what
So would it be fair to say that you're using the impact whenever your heel hits, that slight jerk whenever your fist impacts to help the impact of our strike?
So if you think of, you've all heard me say, I need a light right here when I get up close and look. You all have heard me say hands before the feet. So when you do hands before the feet, that puts 130 pounds into the impact. So if, we're doing this all nice and slow right now, but it should be like, my hand hits, my heel hits, I float as I transition to the next punch. So if I'm going right, left, it's hand, heel, float, hand, heel. So that was hand, heel, hourglass. So that transitioned the weight of my right, float, which is cat, temporary cat is what I like to call it. And that I'm pivoting now on the ball, hand hits, heel hits. So that 130 pounds, 130 pounds by doing that. If Taika would say a lot of particularly hard style karate, and you see him, this is okay, Taika said, for memorization when you're learning, but most of you in this window have had the peen on. If you land, punch, Taika would say, why did you bother taking a step? Because you can get range, and this is on a video that I don't think this one's been released yet. It may have been the one I released this morning, where I talk about Saison. I can get range to a target without taking that full step. There are other tricks that we use. There's hourglass trick that we use, obviously, is me getting range. But Taika would say, if you take a step and then impact, you've lost all the power that you gained by your body. So when you first learn, like Pinon, you step, drop, step, head, or step, punch, that's just to memorize the moves that are in the kata. You should always impact, land. And that's how Taika particularly got pretty famous with his bow. He could impact and then drop his, I don't know, probably 110 pounds back in the day in the 50s and 60s in Okinawa. He was pretty small. But he could break a bow, pretty simple. If you step and then strike, you're only striking with this much weight. I'm not going to saw my arm off to find out how much my arm weighs, but I'm going to guess if I weigh 130 pounds, this is probably, I don't know, 15? I don't have any clue. I guess I could ask a mortician. So, impact hand, impact heel, immediately float for the next move, impact hand, impact heel. That's that dropping of the heel, you see it drops your body weight into it. Good? Answer the question? Asked and answered?
This one might be quite a bit more advanced than what we're doing, but would it be fair to say that using the physics problem of, there's a push back whenever you push forward with your fist, are we actually using after the impact? Because like if I push someone, right, there's a force flowing back into my fist. Are we using that to help us transition to the next move even faster? I know that's probably a little beyond this, but I was just curious.
I would say that depends on what you're hitting. Ideally, stand by for visual aid. Ideally, when I impact, for power for Kyusho, I'm wanting to drive through and redirect, right? There are times like Ateme where we recoil, where our goal is to recoil to come up to hit something else, right? I'm not focused on going down and through so much as making a pause so that I can recoil up. But most of these kind of strikes like this that we're doing with power, we want to continue through and change direction. Now, since you mentioned that, I'm lining up my body to where my arm is perpendicular on those strikes. As I impact, so I'm using the back hand, I'm having to turn to get everything in alignment to impact, right? As if I want to redirect my energy that way with dermal redirection, when my heel floats, see what happens to my arm? I don't know if you can see that very well. I'm here. As I float, I naturally, as I float and turn back to the back stance, my arm is going that direction. So it's pretty much logical with that kind of strike for me to redirect out instead of a flexion doing an extension. So I'm punching an hourglass, and instead of flexing, I'm going to do an extension because I know this next one's coming, right? So Taika, if he wanted to do flexion, and we'll get into that more, it's kind of hard to do. I need a body to show some of that stuff. One of the things that determines if I'm going to do flexion or extension on a strike, a general flexion motion or extension motion with 3D, is their stance. So if my bad guy is in this stance, where are his weaknesses? Where is the stance weak? He's got a pillar going this way, a pillar going that way. He's weak this way and this way.
So you're back, left, and front, right.
If I'm hitting him right, and I want him to go towards one of the weak points of his stance, I have to either pull him to that, which is kind of difficult to do. I'd have to somehow pull him. If I had hooked his arm, I might be able to do that. But if I'm just doing a punch with dermal redirection, his weakness is where that is. I don't know if that shows up black on gray mats that well, but the weakness is there. So if you hit and do extension, then you change his stance from like a seishon stance to a pigeon-toed stance, which we don't do in training, but that stance makes them want to go this direction, right? I disrupted by doing that motion. So that's, again, just kind of like you said, that's a little bit farther down the rabbit hole, but that's where you're going. You're learning to impact with force efficiency, and then by the natural opening up for the next punch and changing your footwork, you're learning the three-dimensional force efficiency into dermal redirection by doing this footwork. So for some of you, I mean, this is a few rungs up from where you were before we started this session today. But I think it's a great carrot, a great path to head towards, to really start thinking about how do I get on all of my strikes when I'm doing this stuff, how do I get force efficient? That'll lead into dermal redirection. It'll lead into powerful strikes. Taika didn't knock people out by using a lot of kinetic force. He knocked people out and took arms out of the equations, legs out of the equations, necks out of the equations by being aligned. I guarantee you, if you look at his old videos, unless he was talking as he was doing something, when he would impact a neck, this was at a right angle. It'll be that split second of impact, and then he may turn and disguise it or go into something else. But if he hit the neck, this was aligned at a 90-degree angle, and then maybe he went to take the arm that was there into an arm bar using my pivot point as my elbow, and see, I'm here, I'm lined up. So he didn't go here and then here to do the arm bar. He would hourglass to get his arm perpendicular at a right angle, and then that heel would come around and the other one would hourglass so that he could grab a hold of that arm and do the arm bar or whatever he was doing. So if you start going back, I've posted several videos on the YouTube channel of Taika in his glory days doing stuff. You always got to watch. Marvin and I have had this discussion a million times. You watch his videos and he'll do it the wrong way as he's talking and kind of lightly demonstrating. He'll do it the wrong way probably 5 or 6 times. And then when he actually zings it, he lines stuff up. He lines stuff up. So that's what really this 2-corner drill with exercise 1, you can even think zigzag zoo, left, right, double, left, double, right, left, double, right, double. Think about that. So left, that's my long arm. Right, that's my long arm. So what stances are those? Back stances. Then I do a right again, but now I'm here. I'm on the left side. So I'm using the back arm. Right now it's diagonal across my body. See that? See how it's diagonal across my body? I don't want that. That makes this weak. That makes my traps in the back weak. I don't want that diagonal motion. So it would be back stance, hourglass. Now this is pointed towards that corner and I'm perpendicular to my body. So there's numerous ways you can practice this. You can just sit there and get all your requirements, get your requirement list out and go through all the different strikes and parries and everything else that we do and think about that. So here's land turtle, back stance because it's the front arm, hourglass because it's the back arm.
Lee, this is Brady. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Lee, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
What's the difference between the back stance and the cat stance? What's the difference between those two things?
All right. Did you just ask what's the difference between a back stance and a cat stance?
Yes.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Your transmissions are getting kind of cut off. So if you elongate your yes and no, maybe. Okay, thumbs up. So back stance, the heel touches, the front heel touches. Cat stance, you can slide a quarter underneath between the heel and the mat. Gotcha. All right. Any other questions over back stance, hourglass with various exercises? Either Brad's cold or he's leaving. All right. With that in mind, where are we at time-wise? Wow, we spent 1 hour and 15 minutes on that. And I'm getting hoarse. I'm going to get a drink of water, and then I'm going to just start going down the deals. If you want to work on something specific, work on it, and then I'll do kind of a roll call your name and see if there's something specific you want me to look at.
Hey, Lee.
Yes.
Real quick, very well done. That transition from the basic stance to actual application was well done. Your students should really appreciate that effort that you gone into that. So, and I'm sure they take advantage of you doing that for them. So, but I've got to leave. Thank you very much for doing this.
Take care. Good to
All
see
right,
you, Marvin.
bye.
And I'll be right back. I'm going to get a sip of water.
Bye, Marvin.
Bye, everybody.
Hi, baby.
Hello. How's everything in
How's
Kansas
it
City?
going?
Not too bad. How are
Fine
you?
and dandy.
Yeah. Are you having fun with all your kids
Good,
home
good.
all day long?
All day. Well, they actually go to daycare
Oh, really? That's not
during
closed?
the week. Yeah.
Okay.
No, they're actually getting a lot of pressure from the state to stay open as long as they can.
Oh,
So essential workers can go
Interesting.
to work. I know. It's been
Uh-oh.
great.
it's been great.
Bob, what are you doing with all your time now? Not at school.
Oh, just studying for a study. I'm just studying for a test I got to take,
Studying.
and then just watch Netflix, hanging around. Yeah.
My 3-year-old brought me a phone so I could talk to her upstairs.
Nice.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we lost Scott. Bob, you got, so you're first in the Brady Bunch window now. Bob, you got anything you want aid on?
No, I'm good. Just gonna keep working on code with applications. Most of the class I could hear, but a couple times you sound like a sideline or something.
All right. Brady bailed. What's Brad the dad? Got any questions?
Yeah,
Was that a no?
No, not right now. I might give you a call and maybe we can work privately on Shiho Hoppo sometime next week, but I don't know what I did. I messed up my shoulder and it's been difficult to do anything, so I've kind of had to take a little break. This is the most I've done all week.
All righty. Of note, I did film myself doing Nunchaku Kihon yesterday for you, Brad, and I'll be putting that up on the Kenshukai site under the weapons column probably in the next few days. Just
cool.
The whole process of recording video isn't that hard. I've had, with the studio being down, I've had to do a workaround where I record in my camera in a lower resolution, and then I put the videos together and encode them on my old laptop, which means a 30-minute video takes me 8 to 10 hours to encode. It's just ridiculous. So sometime in the next week, I'll have that up and I'll let you know. I think you probably got it anyway, but better late than never. All right, Trinidad, you got questions?
Yeah, I saw the, I was just, before I realized you had a Zoom link up, I saw you just posted the videos this morning. So I was watching them, and I really liked the, your explanation of the Naihanchi footwork, the way, the real way, or the updated version of how you go side to side. I'm just watching, I've been trying to work on it only just since then. I wanted to see if you had any more pointers about how to get good at that.
Repetitions.
Yeah.
And obviously you just watched it today, so you haven't really got that much into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just really, you got to be conscious. And I said 2 drills and I ended up doing 3 drills, but you know, I didn't want to go back and re-record me saying, I'm going to do 3 drills. I really think visually for yourself, a mirror and either a Bo or a Joe. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to step back real quick. So if I put on my shoulder a Bo or a Joe, a broomstick, whatever you got, I'm guessing as long as you've been in the arts, you probably have a Bo or a Joe. But if I put this on here and I just turn my heel, you see drastic moves. The longer the stick is, obviously, the more keen to what's going on you're going to be. You're really going to notice that bow moving. So that very first drill, I guess I am in, that very first drill, if I put my feet together like Nahanchi, get a little bit of a flex here in my knees, and I just open my feet, it's very noticeable when I'm in this kind of crucifix mode here. When I'm in that position, it's very noticeable that my body moves. Now, if I take both knees and flex them down, nothing happens up top. So if I concentrate on my left knee going forward in Nahanchi Shodan, and really think about trying to get that left knee over my toes, then I can do whatever I want with that other leg. Really, I can go up in crane stance, rear crane, front crane. I can do whatever I want with this leg because I have isolated my upper body by just putting my left knee straight ahead. So left knee straight ahead, doesn't matter. I can do Fiddler on the Roof. I can do, you know, whatever that Russian dancing stuff is. I don't know. I can do anything I want. So know if my knee is behind my toes, if I just bend a little bit and I can still see my toes right now, and then I open, see this side came forward. If I really isolate and think about that left knee going in front, then I can keep the upper body isolated. Same with crossovers. If my knees, well, and you can see the bow is pretty much straight. The same rule applies if I don't bend my knees. If I do this crossover, now that's forward. If even if I try the crossover that's normal, you see a little bit of wiggle here. But if I press that knee till it's past my toes, I can slide and nothing happens up top. So whether you're doing edge, edge, touch, out, or you're doing the edge, edge, tightrope walk, or later on, there's technical application versions where we do a sweep, where I'm trying to get my foot flat, come out. I showed all 3 of those in that video. As long as that knee is in front, and I do those motions, edge, edge. The problem with what a lot of people did, and I'm sure, I know Rocky Lovett taught it to Josh, so Josh may have taught it to you, is this version where you go pinky toe to pinky toe and your heel is way off the ground like that. See how
I need tighter pants here. Becky's like, no. When you try to do that pinky toe to pinky toe, it's not possible to do that without your knee being about here. Now, when I go over this way, edge to edge, I am still able to lock in there, and there's a leg lock for that I can show you if we ever get, if the pandemic ends. I can go edge to edge, my knee is forward, but I'm not blocking it. If I'm up here, I'm blocking my knee going forward. So I didn't go into details in that video because obviously we've got other people watching, and then the video would be an hour and a half long. But really think about, I would put a bow or some sort of stick on your shoulders, and then really think about that knee being just past the toes. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. I was going to say I was also really impressed by how fast you could do the transition from right to left.
Well, I practiced a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go to the next window. Becky.
Hello. So I need help with spider web and shiho.
Any particulars?
So I remember the opening part of spider web, and I remember the ending part of spider web. It's the in-between parts that I don't remember. So it's mostly just memory with the exercise and with the kata. I can't hear you. You've frozen.
Can you show me where you get stuck with spider?
Okay. I have to plug my phone in. Hold on just a second.
While she's doing that, Scott, that second one, make sure, Scott, make sure your arm is, your knuckle is brachial plexus high for that second. The first one's leaning down, the second one, this knuckle should be this height. So it's working kind of like class. I can pick on Scott while everybody else is doing something. Everybody tell Becky how much you like her light fixture.
Okay. I had to move the table to get it plugged in. Okay, so you want me to do spider web? Is that what we're at?
Yeah, so I can see what you're locking up on.
Okay. Let's see what I remember. And I think we do this.
Yep.
And I don't exactly remember how to get to like the arm bar movement on that part either.
Okay, so visualizing it's your opponent's left arm. So you end with your right arm up after your four single, double, head, single. You end up here.
Okay, right.
The right punch is coming out. So if you visualize hitting the right shoulder and dropping down, now you come outside that arm here. Now for them to punch you with the left hand, they've got to pull their right hand back, and it's in this nook. You've got it hooked here. So your left foot you're going from a horse stance to an hourglass, and then you shoot through this V to go outside of their left arm. So now the back of your hand is touching their shoulder. Both hands slide up to the shoulder, your back foot, your left foot slides, and you end up at the wrist with both hands. Right hand, right foot changes back to an hourglass. You open it,
strike the ribs, turn and hand it to that, and now you're in the arm bar. And then you do pasai, and then you start your double head, single, double. Did that help?
Okay. Yeah, do you think you could do the first part through the first arm bar? Just so I can watch you.
Just what I just did, just again?
Go from the start through the first arm bar.
Gotcha.
Please.
I'm going to start facing this way.
Okay,
Do my first single here. That way I'm facing you during the arm bar.
okay.
Okay. So, single, double, head, single. Right punch comes, touch the right shoulder. Up, turtle. Open, go through the V, right foot out. Touch the shoulder, slide to the wrist. Right hand changes, right foot changes. Open the door, skip off the ribs, change, armbar, pasai. Does that work?
Yeah, that's good. So that was good. I'll work on that.
Okay.
We can stop there with that and we'll work on that. If you have time right now, could you do the beginning of Shiho, Hapo, Note?
Just left side, right side before it goes forward or further?
I've got the left side, right side starting to go forward. And I'm missing like the forward part. I don't remember what to do there.
So you did left side, right side, you came back here. Right foot comes forward with left, right, back. So back, kick, back, forward, drop, around the barrel, up, kick, inside, out, seisan. Is that far enough?
Yeah, I was forgetting about the throw to the side.
Ah, yeah.
So yeah, now I
So
remember.
here, 2 strikes with right foot going forward, back, kick behind you, land behind you again, around counterclockwise, clockwise, up, kick straight, cover in, kick out, seisan drop, draw, right cover, left cover, right cover, up. In line. That got you sorted?
Yeah,
All right.
yep, that's good. Thank you.
Next window would be safe. Safe doesn't have a video up. Safe, you got anything you need? I guess Safe's just in voyeur mode. We'll go to Scott.
It's kind of unrelated, but do you recommend a specific camera that might do a better job of capturing this room?
Only thing I can say is I could maybe look for you. The one that I have that's connected to the dead computer has a very wide angle. I think it's like 270 or something. It's really a wide angle lens. So that's obviously the wider angle it is, you lose some detail, some fidelity. There's the camera girl there, but it does get you, where you can see your feet, you can see your head, your feet, your arms and everything. So it works a little bit better for this, even though the quality may not be quite as good.
Well, yeah, because I was thinking that like you don't necessarily need to see every single one of my fingers. You just kind of need to see where basic placement is.
Yeah, yeah. And it's kind of dark in that room too. And part of that is probably your camera is compensating for the light behind you, the window. So I don't know if you could reverse that and have the camera pointing to one of the walls that's not got a window on it.
Fortunately, this room is all windows everywhere.
All right.
But yeah, I'll wait for some feedback on that. I'm gonna probably still work on Kusanku. I think I figured out a couple of things, but I want to kind of work through them first.
Okay, I'll let you work through them. Brady, you got you're the next contestant on. I'm laughing at Brad's eyebrows.
No, I'm good. I've got that. I've got your video Pasai already, which I'm using to work with, so I'm good.
All right. Brad?
Oh, we already did me.
I'm just going back down the line. So.
Oh, yeah, no.
So you still got nothing?
Mm-hmm.
All right, he's got nothing. All right, so we've covered everybody at least once. If anybody else has questions, I'm good. I can answer them. Or I can just make funny faces.
Sorry, I accidentally was like, it's like saying it's recording, but I'm not sure how or why or what is happening.
I have the pro membership, so this entire session is being recorded to the cloud right now, so that I can. My main reason for recording
it later
today is to look at what went right, what went wrong, so that I can improve lighting. Like when I got the water, I grabbed another light so that when I'm coming in to answer questions, you don't just see this big silhouette. So that's kind of what the main reason I'm recording it. I can look back and figure out what I can do to improve. And obviously I'm completely open to any feedback from everybody. So if you've got things like the audio kept cutting out, your voice sounded too high, or I don't know. Any comments at all?
I have a suggestion that before each session, that you make sure you tell everybody to mute, because I know some of us forgot, and even just a little slight noise will switch the video over to that person, even though they don't even realize that they're being displayed to everybody else.
Yeah. I'll try to remember to say that at the beginning of them. I've actually already made a note to that, because I did notice, like, we made that comment to like the first 5 or 6 of us that got online, and then we had some other people join later, like Marvin, his girlfriend said something and his camera came up, and then he was messing with his earphones for a little bit. So the people that add later definitely need to be reminded. But I'm so far back, until I can get this figured out to put it on the projector to where I can see everybody's heads a little bit bigger, which I think I'm just going to end up using the lower resolution camera and backing it all the way to the wall.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, we can also work together on that. Sometimes we're up a little closer. Like, for instance, I can tell you that Bob keeps popping up for me. Bob's not muted. So
hey, and one thing too on that, if I don't know what device you're on, but like if I'm in the gallery view and I double click on Lee, it doesn't matter who's talking, it just stays on Lee.
Oh, really?
And you can hit a pin video.
Oh, yeah, that does work, huh?
Hey,
Brady, you want to see my beautiful face?
No, no one wants to see that. No, I'm just kidding.
you pretty much have the nostril cam right now, Bob.
Yeah, I know. I'm on my phone because I got to do Zoom for work, so I had the app on there. I probably need to do it on my computer next time.
Alternatively, is there a way to put like in the meeting notes when it first comes up for like rules of the meeting, so it can be like, hey, when you first join, make sure your microphone's muted. Just a quick checklist or something. If not, I know there's some cam software. I don't know how much it costs or anything, but supposedly you can like put like filters or stuff over your screen, so you can be like, hey, remember to mute your microphone.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Becky, do you know? I think you've used Zoom a little bit more than me. She's our math tutor.
So I have only used Zoom with my yoga instructor. So she led the meeting. And at the start, she had everybody's microphones and videos on, and everybody could talk for about 2 minutes. And then she muted everybody's microphones until the end, and then she turned it back on. But that was a yoga class where people are supposed to be quiet. So.
Yeah. Well, see, well,
So
here, let's do a test. I'm going to hit mute all and then see if Becky can turn her mic back on. Hold on a second. Okay. And she just turned it back on.
Yeah, I tried. Did it work?
Yeah. Yep. You're on. So I can hit mute all if I, just know to do that.
Can you hear me?
But then we turn it back on.
Yeah, and Scott just turned his on. So a lot of this, it's just, the whole interface is new to me.
Does it matter? Does the mute all for your end work for people who join the meeting after you hit the command?
I would imagine it doesn't, but I don't know for sure. We'd have to have somebody join us.
I've had to do a lot of Zoom meetings the past few weeks, and so if I create the meeting, there's an option where you can, when you're making the meeting, if it's a scheduled time, where you can set it so it'll automatically mute anyone who comes in right when they come in, which helps because not everyone remembers to do it.
All right, yeah, I'll dig in and play with the options a little bit and figure that. Something else that. How many of you had to use had to type a password when you first logged in?
Other than my account password, no.
Okay, so when Brady first tried to log on and Brad, it came up and asked him for a password. Live long and prosper, Brad. So
I used the link. I used the link in your email.
So the link from the email did not require a password for you, but how did you join, Brady?
Right.
I used the link from the email, same as Becky.
So you just clicked on the link, Brady? You didn't manually type the numbers?
Nope. Just click the link.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the difference is there.
It might have been that I tried to join too early. I don't know.
I did not. I used.
Pardon? Brad?
I used, I got the codes off of Facebook, but I put them in on my iPad. So I'm on the iPad right now. So I went to the Zoom app, put in the meeting code planner, and then it asked me for the password.
Yeah, I tried that too. And it asked me for the password.
But Brady came in about 25 minutes early, so maybe that's what the deal was. I don't know. I'll dig in some more and try to figure that out. It's all new to me. I've done Skype for literally probably 15 years before Microsoft ruined it.
I can help you out. Just give me a holler and I can help you troubleshoot anything if you need a second eyeballs.
Gotcha. Any more comments regarding the video audio portion of the show?
Other than occasionally, I don't know if it was you or me, you kind of lag out. Everything else came through fine.
Yeah, I thought it sounded good.
I'm just going to go down the window and call on people by name and ask. So Scott just told me, Brady, did you get any disconnects, any lag?
Very rarely.
How about Trinidad? Did you get any?
Only once or twice.
Okay. Becky?
Probably about 4 times.
Original Bob?
I had a few. It's like it would freeze for a little bit, and you'd sound like a Cylon, like off of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
But then you come back on. I saw everything. It was just a couple times the audio lagged a little bit.
Okay. How about Brad?
Same. I mean, every once in a while it would kind of cut out a little bit, but I think it might just be everyone's personal connection because, like, I watched Scott for a little bit going through Kata while you were talking about something else, and he froze up a lot. So I think it's probably more everyone's individual than probably yours. Not saying you're not the problem, but not the entire problem.
Gotcha. So that's, I mean, right now we're doing 7 video streams. At one point we had Dan, we had briefly, and then we also had Marvin. And was there anybody else? I think that was it. But at the most, I think at any one given time we had 8 people, 8 video streams all being coordinated and shot out across, well, most of them across the metro, but some of them had to travel down I-70 there to get to Becky.
Hey, Lee, I have a question. Lee,
Yeah, Brady?
is there a possibility that in the future that you'll add this as another class?
I could barely hear you.
I said, is it possible that in the future that you'll be able to add this as another class, like not to replace the Wednesday or Saturday classes, but an extra class that people can catch up on if they weren't able to make it to classes or whatever?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely up for that as time allows. And also what I was thinking about is obviously right now, all of my seminars for the year are pretty much in the crapper. I've got a couple towards the end of the year, September, October, that may still be occurring. We had one in June in Excelsior Springs. At this point, that's still we're still planning on it, but we don't have any idea. But what I'm thinking about is, like, if I'm in New Zealand for 2 weeks, instead of just having the Tony, Brad, and Bob show of, maybe doing some of this in place of that when I'm out of town, or in conjunction with, so you could still go to the class and train with Tony, Bob, Brad, Becky if she comes to town, but I would also be available online. So yeah, I think it's a great tool that we just really hadn't much thought about until suddenly we're not allowed to leave the house.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm thinking about it, Scott. I'm old. I may have already said it, but lighting in that room, if you just had some like LED light, I've got some, like the one that's on me right now is about this big. It's LED, of some sort of light brightening up that room a little bit.
Center is open, so I might see if I can score an LED light from there, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's the biggest downside. Other than it's not, that window's not too bad until you come up and stand right in front of it, and then it just puts this bright halo around you, and it's kind of hard to see what's going on.
I could also move it. There's one other spot in my apartment that I could probably move to that might be a little more or a little less windowy.
Yeah.
But I might try that next time and see how that looks too.
towards that bag in the corner so that it's at a 45.
Oh, sorry, I missed like the last couple minutes.
If you took your, whatever you're streaming with, and just tilted it about 45 degrees so it's aiming right at that red bag in the behind you. Yeah, that's actually a little bit better because yeah, the window by your left hand is just getting so much sunlight in it. The door window is not getting sun in it. Does that make sense? So, of course, if we did the night class, you might have to, I don't know.
Okay, so either, like I said, I'm going to experiment with a different spot next time. And yeah, I think I'll try that first, experiment. See how it looks from my living room.
Brad, you're in your kitchen, aren't you?
He's in his new basement dojo.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm being quiet because I'm watching the headless safe do Nahanchi. And of course, Brad's eyebrows. So pretty much from this point, if nobody has any more video suggestions or whatever, I mean, if you do, send them to me later. If not, you can, I'm just gonna leave the video running for another 10 minutes. And if you've got questions, chime in. If not, I'll just watch. And when I see something ugly like Brad, I'll announce it to the whole group.
Hurts.
Have we had a pun yet?
Do you know what Alexander the Great and Winnie the Pooh had in common?
No idea.
Their middle name.
Dork.
Oh, it's not a class, virtual or real, without a good Brad joke. So I'm just watching. I'm in voyeur mode. This thing keeps going, I'll be able to have a top knot soon.
Yeah, nice. Dojo in the front, party in the back.
Hey, Scott, I got something for you.
All right.
When you're doing that Nisei Shi,
Hmm.
when you bring this hand back for the double, it's really close to your shoulder. So drop, come up, out, and then this should be force efficient. That front hand, instead of you're pulling it kind of back here. Does that make sense? So this back fist happens, and then when you do that shoot, that should be a right angle. So it should be fairly far away from that shoulder, that top hand. Did you catch that?
Kinda. Apparently the computer thought you're moving so fast, everything was a blur.
Okay, I'll slow it down.
Sorry about that.
No problem. So, Nisei Shi, you come up, back fist, and what you were doing is when this comes up, this hand is, you're about a fist away from your shoulder here. It should be
perpendicular. Okay, it should be force efficient. So when I'm here and I do my back fist and I do this motion, that front hand, see how far away from my body it is? You're bringing it here.
So it needs to be
It
out.
should be. This hand's throwing the dice, rolling a 20. So I'm throwing that die underneath, but this hand, if I stand up, it's perpendicular to my body. Make sense?
Yeah.
Did it work that time? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. It's still cutting out, but I think I understand what you're saying. Because you're saying, I'm up here, I need to really think out here.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I can work on that. Man, doing this at a 45 is really messing with me.
You know, Taika would make us do that in the dojo all the time. Anytime we got comfortable with something, he'd go 45. And we'd all be like, no.
All right, I'm going to keep working on that, but I think it's going to fall apart before it looks any better.
What the? Oh, my bow fell.
Lee, could you do Pinan Shodan once?
Full kata?
Yes, please.
Oh. Did that work?
Yes, thank you. I did it earlier, and there was on the one turn I thought I did something wrong, but I did it right. So, thank you.
All right, I'm going to say goodbye now. I need to make lunch.
What are you making us?
Bye,
I don't know. I have to figure that out, and I'm starving.
All right.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Becky.
Bye.
Yep, same here. Bye, guys.
Bye, Brad. Brad did not do the tiger bow out. What the hell?
I feel cheated.
Well, it's no substitute, but here you go. Here you go.
Thank you.
I know you missed it.
All right, we're basically 1 minute warning. Any questions from anybody?
No, I'm good.
No.
All right.
I think it was a good first session.
Yeah, I thought it was very useful. That stuff with the footwork, with the hourglass and the back stance really helped. That's not something I knew about.
Yeah, it's usually something I give after you're comfortable with the 2-corner drill. So I think everybody in here, poor Trinidad hadn't had it yet and came in late, so he got the crash course. But everybody else has done the 2-corner drill enough that should be pretty eye-opening and give you a lot to work on.
Trinidad, you were with Rocky Levitt?
No, I trained under a guy for a while who I think had trained under Rocky when he was younger. So some of the versions in Naifanchi and Seisai I learned have some of that kind of motion.
Yeah, kind of the same story for me too. I trained under Rocky Levitt for a little while after I worked with somebody else.
All right, gentlemen, this was a great first experiment. I'm going to go ahead and end it. I'll catch you all later. Take care.
All right, thank you.